Douluo continent, 300 miles east of the capital of the Tiandu Empire, deep surrounded by mountains. The grey stone buildings are like castle-like barriers. These are almost integrated with the peaks and occupy most of the hills. 3 vigorous and powerful characters, Haotian, are engraved on the front door of the castle. This is the current residence of the world's first Haotian sect, which is indescribable compared to the former residence. In the front yard of the Clear Sky sect, all the disciples of the Clear Sky sect gathered here for a monthly regular meeting. Headed by suzerain Tang Xiao, the 5 remaining elders, he began to urge every disciple to practice hard, strive to lift the closure as soon as possible, and restore the preaching of the Haotian school. Behind the crowd, only 5-year-old Tang Bufan stood with a group of 3 generations of Haotian disciples, listening attentively to the teachings of the suzerain and the elders. The older disciples are in their teens, and the younger are only a few years old. Among the crowd, Tang Bufan appeared to be particularly outstanding, with wise eyes and a light of thinking. Compared with his brothers of the same race, he seemed quite extraordinary. Tang Bufan's thoughts travelled far beyond the sky, an indescribable smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He is no one else, but Tang Bufan, a master of the first generation of Earth, the innate pinnacle powerhouse. At the beginning, under the bombardment of the 6th wave of sky thunder, he had already turned into ashes and lost consciousness. He didn't expect that he didn't die, but was reincarnated and reincarnated, which is really incredible. After the initial fear, shock, and discomfort, he gradually calmed down. His name in this life is still called Tang Bufan, and his parents' expectations are placed on him. At this point, Tang Bufan was quite satisfied. After all, he had used this name in another world for 30 years and was very kind. He learned the language of this continent when he was 1 year old, and he can jump and run, and he is very strong. Even if he fights with a brother who is a few years older than him, he has never lost. He is called the King of Children, because no one under the age of 6 can fight it, which makes his parents very happy. Through reading and learning, he quickly gained a preliminary understanding of the continent. The continent is called the Douluo continent, which is completely different from the Earth in his previous life. The people here cultivate a kind of energy called soul power, and it changes in many ways. At the end of the cultivation, it is said that they can become at 100 levels and live forever. When he saw this record, he was particularly excited. Perhaps the unfulfilled wish in the previous life could be realized in this life. And Douluo continent is not in the age of domination like the Earth, almost everyone can practice. In this way, Tang Bufan secretly began to practice the techniques of his previous life. I don't know if it was rebirth, or because of the condensing of the soul in the previous life, his soul is particularly strong in this life, and even the spiritual power was born at birth. Although the spiritual power is still in the initial stage, he can already see inwardly. Since he was 1 year old, he and his parents slept in separate rooms. During the day, he did not dare to be too much. Most of them were learning knowledge, reading sect books, occasionally being naughty, and fighting with brothers of the same clan. At night, he began to practice the exercises of his previous life, perhaps because his physical fitness is better than that of his previous life, and his cultivation speed is much faster than his previous life. His previous life's inner strength mental method was named De Zhou Tian Han Yuan Gong, which is divided into 9 levels. The 9th level is the realm of his previous life, the peak of innate. Each layer needs to open up the 12 meridians in the body, a total of 108 meridians need to be opened up. At the end of his cultivation, he could go to heaven and earth. In his previous life, he had been able to fly for a short time with his strong internal strength, and he was called a fairy. According to his calculation, as long as he breaks through the innate realm, he can truly condense and fly in the air. Thinking of this, he couldn't help being fascinated. Although he is only 5 years old now, he has already cultivated the great Zhou Tian Han Yuan Gong to the first peak, and the surging internal force has penetrated through 12 subtle meridians, forming a small Zhou Tian. But after that, no matter how he practiced, he couldn't break through the peak of the first stage, and he did not encounter a bottleneck in the sixth stage in his previous life. After thinking about it, the bottleneck of his great Zhou Tianhun Yuan Gong might be related to the unique cultivation civilization in this world, martial spirit and spirit ring. Everyone on the Douluo continent has a martial arts spirit, and martial arts spirits are even more strange, including animal martial arts, plant martial arts, and weapon martial arts. Their Clear Sky School disciples have the top weapon spirit, Clear Sky Hammer. The ancestors of the Clear Sky sect were able to gain the supreme reputation of the #1 sect in the world by relying on the Clear Sky Hammer. And the spirit ring is the thing formed by the body energy of the spirit beast after death. A spirit master at a bottleneck only needs to absorb the spirit ring to be able to advance, which is equivalent to breaking through the realm. This is what he saw from the book, and he also asked his parents in this life, it is true. That's why he judged that his great Zhou Tianhun Yuan Gong couldn't break through, and it might be related to Wuhan and spirit ring. However, Wuhan can only wake up at the age of 6, and he still needs to wait for a year. At this moment, the sovereign and the 5 elders finished their speeches, and the conference was dissolved. Many Haotian disciples scattered all at once, and the young children went home with their parents. When passing by Tang Bufan, their expressions became quite complicated. Some were hiding behind their parents, looking at Tang Bufan in fear. These were all beaten by Tang Bufan, and there were shadows when they were young. Others were very dissatisfied and even wanted to do something, but the sect did not allow them. Yu reading www.yuuganshu.com. Although the sect does not mind the disciples fighting and discussing, there are restrictions. Under 6 years old and over 6 years old are two completely different concepts. Because the spirits are awakened all over the age of 6, and the Clear Sky Hammer is the top weapon spirit, after the disciples of the Clear Sky School have awakened their spirits, almost all their innate spirit power is above level 4, and some outstanding ones even reach level 8 or 9. Congenital full soul power also occasionally occurs. Therefore, the sect stipulates that after the awakening of the spirit, it is not allowed to interact with the clansmen who are not awakened. Those who were beaten by Tang Bufan when they were young and those who were older than Tang Bufan were quite aggrieved. Because they had already awakened the martial spirit first, they could no longer do anything with Tang Bufan. Just like that, they tickled their teeth every time they saw Tang Bufan. And Tang Bufan still provokes them every time, which makes them unable to bear it. Let's bear with him for a year. After his martial soul awakens, he beats and vents his breath. Tang Bufan didn't put them in his eyes at all. He didn't use much force before, even if they awakened the spirit, he was not afraid. As long as he didn't obtain the spirit ring, Tang Bufan was not afraid. After obtaining the spirit ring, his power will be greatly increased, and he still has spirit abilities. He can't guarantee that he can beat the opponent without fighting. Soon, a bunch of young men and women came over. The men were about 30 years old and the women were younger. They were Tang Bufan's parents, Tang Zheng and Su Ziyuking. The two of them took Tang Bufan's gentle little hands all the way and apologized to many brothers of the same race. It is true that Tang Bufan has beaten many people. Most of these brothers in the clan laughed. After all, they are all brothers of the same clan, and the children are fighting, so they don't care. Soon 100 people were almost gone. At this moment, Sect Master Tang Xiao and the 5 elders walked over. Tang Zheng and Su Ziyuking hurriedly greeted the suzerain and the 5 elders. To be honest, they were also very puzzled. They did not know why the suzerain came here. As the sect master, Tang Xiao is now a titled Douluo at level 92, and several elders are also at level 80 and above. They can be said to be the pillars of the Clear Sky School. Tang Bufan stood beside his mother and looked at Tang Xiao and the others curiously. He was the first time to look closely at the top powerhouse in the mainland, with a little tension and excitement on his face. Tang Xiao is tall, nearly 2 meters tall, as the sect master. Even if he condenses his soul power, Tang Bufan feels a pressure, and intuitively tells him that he is very strong. Tang Xiao chuckles and said, Tang Zheng, your son is very good. Even a few elders and I have heard of his glorious deeds. Tang Zheng's face was embarrassed. Sect Master, Xiao Fan is only 5 years old. He is a bit naughty if he is not sensible. I will teach him a lesson when I go back. Tang Xiao didn't care. You misunderstood what I meant. I didn't mean to blame him. On the contrary, I think he is very energetic. The atmosphere in the clan may have been a little serious in the past few years, but he is not so serious. I am very serious. Be optimistic about him and look forward to his martial spirit awakening in a year. The second elder headed by also smiled and said, We Clear Sky sect needs such a disciple. With a disciple like him, the rest will have the motivation to cultivate. Although the other 4 elders have different expressions, they all seem to agree with the second elder. Tang Zheng and Su Ziyuking suddenly showed strange expressions. Tang Xiao and others just asked, Train him well, we look forward to his future performance. After talking about the 5 people, they walked away, leaving only the 3 of Tang Zheng who were in a daze. Tang Bufan was calm on the surface, but he was quite puzzled in the dark. Did they discover my secret? Shouldn't it? Tang Zheng looked at Tang Bufan, and said with a smile, You naughty mischief asked you to constrain, why don't you listen? Tang Bufan turned his eyes straight and retorted wittily, I'm not mischievous. They bully people because they are older than me. Besides, the Lord and elders didn't blame me. What? You little bastard, you actually used the sect master and the elders to press me, and see if I won't clean up you. Tang Zheng said that he seemed to have to do it, but the smile on the corner of his mouth betrayed him. Tang Bufan didn't know how to catch him, turned around and ran straight to the house, leaving only Tang Zheng chasing after him. Next to, Su Ziyuking looked at the slapstick father and son with a happy smile on his face. Had to go home with the father and son. Haotian Castle lived in the second generation of the sect and the first elders of the sect, while the third and fourth generations of disciples lived in stone houses built behind the castle. Tang Bufan is only 5 years old now, and he still lives with his parents. When Wuhan awakens at the age of 6, he will move to a stone house like those 3 generations of disciples. In fact, he had long been making noise to live in the stone house, but his mother did not allow it, and he had to wait until he was 6 years old. Back in the castle, Tang Bufan went to the study to read, flipped through the information on the spirit beasts, read the general history of the Douluo continent. In short, he could read everything. Anyway, his memory was quite strong, and he was unforgettable. Mother and father cook in the kitchen. This kind of life is very warm. Spring goes to autumn, and 1 year has passed. Tang Bufan is finally 6 years old, and he has reached the age of Wuhan awakening. During this year, his cultivation has not stopped. Even if he can't break through, his internal strength seems to be more mellow and pure. In the study, Tang Bufan stretched out his right hand, and a sword-shaped birthmark appeared in his palm. This sword-shaped birthmark resembled the sword-shaped accessory that had been hung around his neck in the previous life. I don't know if there is a relationship between the two. It has been 6 years since coming to Douluo continent. He still doesn't know how he survived under the thunder, but looking at this sword-shaped birthmark, some terrible conjecture emerged in his heart. But soon he shook his head and was not thinking about his rebirth. As for the earth, there seemed to be no souvenir, because he was an orphan in his previous life. He was raised by his master since he was a child, and his master has passed away for many years. Early in the morning, all the disciples of the Clear Sky School once again gathered in the front yard. Today, in addition to the necessary gatherings, a spirit awakening of the younger disciples will be held. Haotian holds an awakening ceremony every 6 months, and today there are 3 martial soul awakening. They are Tang Bufan, Tang Feng, and Tang Ming. Many clansmen quickly dispersed, leaving the venue to the 3 of them. Sect Master Tang Xiao and the 5 elders looked at the 3 children expectantly, especially Tang Bufan. The next moment, Tang Xiao stepped forward, actually planning to personally awaken the spirits of these three people. Tang Bufan was also a little surprised. After all, this was the sect master of the Haotian sect, one of the few titled Douluo in the mainland. Tang Xiao smiled slightly and took out the soul stone and soul power crystal ball that had been prepared. Soon, a hexagon appeared on the ground, with 6 black soul stones located on the 6 corners. As a disciple of the Clear Sky School, he is no stranger to this scene. Tang Bufan, Tang Feng and Tang Ming looked at each other, and finally Tang Ming took the lead in stepping into the hexagonal array. Tang Xiao smiled slightly. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com waved his 6 soul power into the 6 soul stones. The next moment, a layer of golden brilliance rose from the 6 soul stones, forming a pale golden mask. Tang Ming was enveloped in it. Then, one by one, golden light spots rose from the soul stone, and then entered Tang Ming's body. At first Tang Ming was a little nervous, but soon calmed down. Then Tang Ming's body trembled. Tang Xiao saw this and said softly, "Extend your right hand." Tang Ming did the same immediately, and gently extended his right hand. In an instant, the golden light spots that had entered his body rushed out, and soon a black hammer was formed in his hand. It is not an illusory light and shadow, but a real existence. The hammer handle is about half a foot long and the hammer head is cylindrical, which looks like a reduced version of a casting hammer. However, on the black surface of the hammer, there is a special light. The cylindrical hammer head is coiled with a circle of light patterns. This is the top weapon Wuhan passed down by the Clear Sky School since ancient times. Many disciples around the Clear Sky School smiled when they saw this hammer. Tang Xiao glanced at Tang Ming with satisfaction, use his mind to take the martial soul back into his body and prepare to test the soul power. Tang Ming naturally knew the method of retrieving Wuhan. His parents had taught him a long time ago, but it was the first time after all. Tang Ming took a while to retrieve the clear sky hammer. Behind, Tang Bufan watched this scene, thoughtfully. It turned out that this was the clear sky hammer spirit. It doesn't seem surprising that my spirit will also be the clear sky hammer, but I don't know how many levels of my innate spirit power are. After that, Tang Ming stretched out his hand to hold the blue soul power crystal ball above, and Tang Xiao controlled the bottom. Soon the blue crystal began to light up, spreading little by little, and finally reached about 70% of the entire soul power crystal ball, emitting a dazzling light. The disciples of the Haotian school watching around were all surprised when they saw this scene. Soul power reached level 7. Tang Xiao and even the 5 elders were very satisfied with Tang Ming's qualifications. Although the clear sky hammer is a top weapon martial soul, in fact, there are very few innate soul powers that can reach level 7 or higher. As the sect master, Tang Xiao, after his martial soul awakened, his innate soul power was only at level 8, while Tang Hao reached level 9. Tang Ming's innate spirit power can reach level 7, has great potential, and in the future he can at least reach the level of Contra. Looking at Tang Ming with excitement, Tang Xiao motioned for him to go down. Tang Ming's face was slightly red, quite excited, ran away all the way, and soon came to Tang Bufan's side, quite complacent. "Boss, Tang Feng, I have 7 innate soul power, how good is it?" Tang Bufan looked disdainful, and lightly patted Tang Ming on the shoulder, causing him to scream. "7th level, just so arrogant, do you believe me and Tang Feng are both higher in innate soul power than you?" Tang Ming was a little bit painful, and quickly avoided Tang Bufan's little hands. He suffered a lot and knew how heavy the boss's hands were. "Boss, your innate soul power is higher than mine. I recognize it. As for Tang Feng, I don't believe his soul power will be higher than mine." Tang Feng was rather uncomfortable with Tang Ming's pride, and snorted coldly, "Walk and see." Then Tang Feng walked towards the hexagonal magic circle a little nervously. In fact, he was really not confident that his innate spirit power surpassed Tang Ming. Although the Clear Sky Hammer is a top weapon spirit, and after the awakening of the Clear Sky School disciples' spirit power, the innate spirit power is basically above level 4, but in fact the spirit power of level 4 and 5 occupies the majority, and level 6 is not many. As for level 7 or above, there are very few. Soon, Tang Feng entered the magic circle under everyone's gaze. Tang Xiao waved his hand again and injected 6 soul power. Soon Tang Feng was enveloped by golden light, and a large number of golden light spots gathered again, and finally formed an identical clear sky hammer in Tang Feng's right hand. Before Tang Xiao ordered, Tang Feng consciously retracted the clear sky hammer with his mind, and Tang Xiao nodded repeatedly as he watched. The next moment, Tang Feng took a deep breath and walked towards the sect master, gently pressing his right hand on the blue soul power crystal ball. Suddenly, a dazzling blue light burst out on the crystal ball, which was stronger than Tang Ming's before. After a while, the spirit power crystal stopped spreading, and Tang Xiao looked at the crystal ball with some surprise, because the blue halo covered the 9th layer. He subconsciously murmured, "Innate soul power level 9. Behind him, the 5 elders glanced at each other, and they all saw the surprise in each other's eyes. They were very happy to have Tang Ming who had an innate spirit power of 7th level. They didn't expect Tang Feng's talent to be higher than Tang Hao's evil obstacle. This is a titled Douluo seedling. Although the innate spirit power can't represent the future achievements of the spirit master, he at least has this potential. If you work hard enough in the future, it will only be a matter of time before you become a titled Douluo. In this way, after a few decades, Clear Sky Sect will add 2 more titled Douluos. If a few of them were promoted to titled Douluo, then Clear Sky Sect would not have to be afraid of the Spirit Hall and regain their supreme glory, the first in the world." Thinking of this, they looked at Tang Feng blankly and smiled. Among the crowd, Tang Ming's face was slightly bitter. Tang Feng, this kid, had actually reached level 9 innate soul power, which was higher than him. Just now, I said that his spirit power was inferior to my own. Didn't I say that I couldn't beat him in the future and would be bullied by him? Tang Bufan was also slightly surprised. He was familiar with the classics of the Haotian school. In the history of the sect, there were only a handful of people with innate spirit power reaching level 9. These people later became titled Douluo. Among them, the Haotian Douluo of this generation, Tang Hao, is even known as the youngest titled Douluo in the mainland, and the previous generation of Haotian Douluo has reached the 99th level of the Soul Master. However, this former sect master is said to have left the Clear Sky School in pursuit of a higher level. Otherwise, why would the Spirit Hall dare to persecute Clear Sky School and chase down the disciples outside Clear Sky School? Clear Sky School will not escape the world. After a while, Sect Master Tang Xiao said freely, "Okay, what a 9-level innate spirit power." The sect disciples who were looking around also cheered, and Tang Feng's parents were even more happy. This kid Tang Feng is so strong that he has reached level 9? We have bullied him before, what should we do? A little guy who was just 7 or 8 years old and several partners beside him muttered. The other 3 disciples of the Clear Sky School who were around 7 or 8 years old were actually a little scared at this moment. You must know that Tang Feng and Tang Ming are headed by the nasty guy Tang Bufan. Although he doesn't want to admit it, the fight is really cruel. Thinking of this, they couldn't help but look at Tang Bufan. Only the youngest Tang Bufan hadn't awakened his martial spirit. They only wanted Tang Bufan's spirit power to be lower, otherwise they would have to detour after seeing the 3 of them. After a long time, Tang Feng left the circle and returned to his parents. Tang Zheng was quite envious and said, "Congratulations, brother, Xiao Feng's innate soul power has reached 9th level, it is really worth celebrating. I don't know how talented my Xiao Feng is." Tang Feng's father is Tang Yuan. Because Tang Feng plays well with Tang Bufan and Tang Ming, the 3 families are very close. The smile on Tang Yuan's face continued, "Cousin, your family is extraordinary but you are known for being smart in the clan, Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com has a strong body, and a few of the little guys in the clan have not been beaten by him. And in my opinion, Xiaofan among the three of them should be the most talented, maybe they are still full of soul power. Tang Yuan paused before expressing his opinion. Actually, Tang Yuan didn't think that Tang Bufan would be innately full of soul power. It was still possible at level 7 or 8, up to level 9. It is really rare to have congenital full soul power, and Tang Zheng and his wife are only in the realm of the Soul King. How could their son be congenital full soul power? Tang Zheng shook his head with a wry smile. I don't expect Xiaofan to reach the innate full spirit power. I am very satisfied with a spirit power of 7. After all, this kid is indeed smart. As long as he is not lazy, his future achievements are still very high. Title Douluo I don't expect it, but Contra still has great hope. Tang Bufan listened to his father's words, and was quite dissatisfied. Father, you have such a lack of confidence in me, but I am determined to become a titled Douluo. I didn't pay attention to the mere Contra. Tang Zheng heard his son's arrogant words, his face sank. Good boy, the martial soul hasn't awakened, and he actually uttered a madman. Do you know how difficult it is to cultivate to title Douluo? Next to Tang Yuan suddenly startled, wondering if it was an illusion. For a moment, he seemed to see a touch of confidence in the eyes of this 6-year-old child that never belonged to his age. In the distance, Tang Xiao appreciated Tang Bufan's ambitions. Tang Zheng, we in the Haotian school should have more ambitious disciples like Tang Bufan. As a soul master, shouldn't it be the ideal of each of us to become a title Douluo? You should not dampen his self-confidence. Well, Tang Bufan, it's your turn to awaken the spirit of martial arts. Let me see if your talent is worthy of your aspirations. Tang Xiao's eyes showed expectation. Tang Bufan's eyes were full of self-confidence. He had been looking forward to this martial spirit awakening for a long time, and it happened to be able to verify a certain guess in his heart. He already knew the whole process of Wuhan's awakening, so he walked into the hexagonal circle under the eyes of everyone, waiting for Wuhan's awakening. At this time, Tang Bufan's heart was extremely calm, to the point that he was not as excited and nervous as Tang Ming and the others. Looking at Tang Bufan, who was calm, Tang Xiao couldn't help but raise his evaluation again. The next moment, as the 6 soul powers were poured into the soul stone, a golden light rose, and then enveloped Tang Bufan in the center of the magic circle. The first feeling of Tang Bufan, who was in the center of the circle, was warmth. No wonder Tang Ming and others entered the circle before, their expressions were much calmer, no longer as nervous as before. Then, Tang Bufan clearly sensed that this warm breath continued to penetrate into his body. Through his inner vision, he could clearly see the golden light spots entering the body, and there were more and more trend. Outside the magic circle, Tang Xiao's eyes showed a look of surprise. He found that the golden light spots gathered in Tang Bufan's body had exceeded the sum of Tang Ming and Tang Feng. After a while, the golden light did not converge towards Tang Bufan again. At the same time, Tang Bufan sensed that the internal strength of the great Haotian Hunyuan, who had been cultivating for several years in his body, began to fluctuate. Under the traction of that warm golden force, something seemed to be broken in his body, followed by that warm golden force actually gathered towards his left hand. The next moment, a purple and black clear sky hammer appeared in the palm of Tang Bufan's left hand, and the terrifying weight made Tang Bufan frowned. He can be sure that Tang Ming and Tang Feng's clear sky hammer are not as bing-zhong as his. If it weren't for his extremely strong physical fitness and the tempering of de Haotian Hunyuan's internal strength, he couldn't easily pick it up. Looking at the substantive clear sky hammer formed by the internal strength of Hunyuan, Tang Bufan seemed to understand something. Just when Tang Bufan was looking at his clear sky hammer, there was already a disturbance outside. As the sect master, Tang Xiao noticed the strangeness of Tang Bufan's martial arts for the first time. As soon as he flashed, he came to Tang Bufan's side, grabbed Tang Bufan's left hand, and carefully looked at his clear sky hammer. The 5 elders who were a little further away from Tang Bufan followed Tang Xiao closely, and they seemed a little shocked in their eyes. In the distance, the many disciples of the sect who saw Tang Bufan's Wuhan were also surprised, and the crowd kept shouting in exclamation. It's actually not a black clear sky hammer, has the martial spirit mutated? It should be. Otherwise, the sect master and elders won't check with the past immediately. Just don't know whether the martial spirit will become stronger or weaker. There are still many discussions of this kind. Tang Zheng and Su Ziyuking are also very nervous, but since the suzerain and elders have passed, they had to wait patiently. Tang Feng and Tang Ming whispered in the back, the boss is the boss, and even the momentum created by Wuhan awakening is stronger than us. In the formation, Tang Bufan was startled by the battle of the sect master and the elders. Isn't it just that the color of the martial arts is slightly different? It seems unnecessary to make such a big push. It took a long time before Tang Xiao had finished appraising Tang Bufan's martial spirit, and he was amazed. After another while, the 5 elders seemed to have finished identifying Tang Bufan's martial arts spirit. Tang Bufan took the martial arts spirit back with his mind, looking at the suzerain and the elders with doubts, expecting their explanation. Tang Xiao didn't answer Tang Bufan, but instead said to the 5 elders, all the elders, what do you think? The 5 elders glanced at each other, and in the end the second elder with the most prestige opened his mouth to answer. It seems that the sect master has already reached a conclusion. According to our judgment, Tang Bufan's martial arts have indeed mutated and become stronger. In addition to the strength attributes of our clear sky hammer itself, it also has additional lightning attributes. A strong paralysis ability, maybe it also forms a talent field. After a pause, the second elder continued, this is probably the first mutated clear sky hammer spirit of our clear sky school. The tone was incredible. Tang Xiao nodded, I have the same opinion as the elder, but there is one thing I still can't figure out. How could his martial spirit mutate? I remember his mother's martial spirit seems to be just an ordinary dagger, is it weird? The second elder smiled lightly, Sect Master, how can we understand the formation of a mutant martial arts soul? In short, Tang Bufan's clear sky hammer martial arts soul has become stronger. This is a good thing. Tang Xiao thinks about it too. At this time, Tang Bufan was weak. Sect Master, elders, can you tell me what happened? Tang Xiao remembered Tang Bufan in the circle, and couldn't help laughing. They seemed to ignore the protagonist. The second elder touched his beard and said kindly, it's nothing, but your clear sky hammer is stronger than theirs. Okay, kid, you haven't checked your spirit power. Let's see what level your spirit power is. Tang Bufan pretended to understand, but he knew everything in his heart. He heard the conversation between the sect master and several elders just now. His own martial spirit has been mutated, it has been strengthened, and it also has a lot of lightning attributes. Thinking of this, there was a flash of light in his mind, the attribute of lightning. Reading www.yuyuganshu.com may be related to the original Sky Thunder. Afterwards, several elders dispersed, staring at Tang Bufan without moving their eyes. They all guessed in their hearts that Tang Bufan's innate spirit power was probably at the full level. After all, the martial spirit could be enhanced, and the spirit power could not be too low. Sure enough, Tang Bufan's left hand was pressed on the soul power crystal, and the blue crystal ball emitted a dazzling light, even more dazzling than the previous Tang Feng test. The blue halo on the crystal ball filled the crystal almost instantly. The ball shook everyone present. Innately full of soul power. Tang Xiao and several elders said one word. The next moment they all looked at Tang Bufan with bright eyes. This 6-year-old boy, today can be said to have given them too much shock. The mutated clear sky hammer spirit, coupled with the innate full soul power, combined, makes his future full of infinite possibilities. Title Douluo would definitely be able to reach it, but he didn't know how far he could go on this road. Thinking of this, Tang Xiao and the 5 elders looked at each other. If they are well trained, perhaps this child is their hope against the Wuhan Palace. The people around him had already boiled to the extreme. Tang Bufan turned out to be full of soul power. It was unbelievable, because the sect seemed to have not borne such a genius for many years. Those third-generation disciples of the Clear Sky School still don't understand what this means, but the second-generation disciples all know that Tang Bufan's future is limitless, and he is likely to be the next heir to the suzerain. Tang Xiao's suzerain has never married, and the suzerain successor can only be selected among the 3 generations of disciples. According to Tang Bufan's talent, it is difficult for the 3 generations of disciples to compete with him, only those who are older than him have some opportunities. Behind, Tang Zheng and Su Ziyuking were extremely proud to see their son's innate soul power. Tang Bufan, who was surrounded by the center, had a calm expression, not nervous, and his eyes were bright. He was not proud of the so-called innate soul power, nor was he intoxicated by the praise and exclamation around him. At this moment, his doubts are gone, and his heart is open. It turns out that soul power is internal power. It's just a different name. The nature is the same, and they are all powers obtained through cultivation. But the so-called innate full soul power was obtained through hard work, so he didn't have much thought about full soul power. Moreover, since Wu Hun awakened, he felt that the bottleneck of the first stage of Great Zhou Tian Hunyuan Gong seemed to loosen, maybe he could try to sprint to the second stage. Suddenly, Tang Bufan's eyes changed slightly, and there was a little weirdness and hesitation on his face. There seemed to be a martial spirit in his body, which felt stronger than the clear sky hammer in his left hand. He didn't know whether to tell the sovereign and elders. Looking at the kind smiles on the faces of the sovereign and the elders, Tang Bufan secretly made a decision. Tang Bufan was about to say that he still had a spirit of martial arts. Tang Xiao stopped him with his eyes. Then, Tang Xiao coughed lightly, and the front yard soon calmed down. He announced, "Today, I am very happy." 3 genius seedlings appeared in Zhongmen. They are Tang Bufan, Tang Feng, and Tang Ming. I hope you will cultivate hard from now on and don't waste your talents. Title Douluo is your goal. Come on, boy! Tang Feng and Tang Ming flushed with excitement. Tang Ming even blurted out, "I want to be a Douluo." All around them laughed. Especially those 3 generations of disciples who were about his age, all showed mocking smiles. Next to, Tang Feng calmed down a lot. Although his face was still very excited, he didn't show up like Tang Ming. Instead, he secretly made up the same determination and determined to become a titled Douluo. Later, Tang Xiao announced his dissolution, but Tang Bufan was left behind. Soon the entire front yard was only left with Tang Zheng's family, the suzerain, and 5 elders. Tang Zheng and Su Ziyuking finally reacted at this time, and they didn't know why the sect master left Xiao Fan. At this moment, Tang Xiao and the 5 elders surrounded them again, their eyes emitting a strange light, as if looking at a supreme treasure. Although Tang Bufan was quite mature in his heart, he was still a little scared subconsciously and quickly hid behind his parents. Tang Xiao's expressions on the faces of several people hurriedly closed, as if they knew they had scared Tang Bufan, but there was still a look of expectation in their eyes. Took a deep breath, and Tang Xiao said solemnly, "Okay, Tang Bufan, just now I saw that you wanted to say something and stopped. Is there something to tell us?" A trace of imperceptible astonishment flashed in Tang Bufan's eyes. He glanced at Tang Zheng and Su Ziyuking before he walked forward. He gently lifted his right hand, a faint golden light rushed out from the palm of his palm, then the brilliance condensed, and a golden long sword appeared. A heavy breath rushed towards his face. Unlike the clear sky hammer, this mysterious long sword almost condenses all of Tang Bufan's internal strength, and it is extremely heavy, even more so than the clear sky hammer. It makes him hold the sword continuously. Trembling, his right hand began to sink slowly because of his terrifying physique. Seeing this, Tang Zheng stepped forward and held Tang Bufan's right hand, unable to speak with excitement in his eyes. Su Ziyuking next to is even more incredible, twin spirits, My son is actually a twin spirit. Tang Xiao and the 5 elders looked at each other excitedly, as if they had already expected it. In fact, when Tang Bufan's clear sky hammer condensed from the left hand, they had already doubted it. After all, the clear sky hammer of the clear sky school disciples was in the right hand, without exception. There is only one possibility that the clear sky hammer will be in the left hand, and that is the twin spirit, but will Tang Bufan be the twin spirit? It seems unlikely, because Su Ziyuking's spirit is just an ordinary dagger spirit, not as good as the clear sky hammer in quality. But when they saw Tang Bufan's mutated clear sky hammer, this kind of guess seemed a little more possible. However, they were still not sure, until Tang Bufan released the second martial spirit, their previous speculations became a fact. And Tang Zheng was carefully looking at the Wuhan in his son's right hand at the moment, and saw that the golden sword was painted with sun, moon, and stars on one side, mountains, rivers and trees on the other side, and some mysterious characters he didn't recognize on the hilt. Intuition tells him that this mysterious sword spirit is not inferior to the clear sky hammer, it is definitely a top weapon spirit. Although the facts were in front of him, Tang Zheng still couldn't believe that his son was actually a twin spirit. Even if his son inherited both the spirits of him and Su Ziyuking, the variation would be too great, even if barely justified. At this time, Tang Xiao said, "Tang Zheng, let go, let Tang Bufan take back the spirit." Tang Zheng just realized this, and quickly let go of his right hand. His son seemed a little uncomfortable, and this sword martial spirit seemed not so easy to control. Tang Bufan wiped the sweat from his forehead, only then did his mind move, and he retracted the mysterious sword spirit. However, there was a huge wave in his heart. He saw very clearly that this sword martial arts spirit was exactly the same as the sword-shaped accessories hanging around his neck in his previous life, and was no different from the ancient divine artifact Xianyuan sword in the legend. He hadn't doubted it before, but he gave up this idea over time. Because how you look at it is just an accessory, Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com can't be the artifact Xuanyuanjian. But today, he can almost be sure that the original sword-shaped accessory is the Xianyuan sword, but this is his true form. And he was able to rebirth into this world, perhaps it was Xuanyuanjian's handwriting. Of course, all of this has yet to be confirmed. After all, there are still some unexplainable points. After a while, Tang Zheng and Su Ziyuking also retracted their gazes, looked at the suzerain and the elders, looking forward to their explanations. After all, they didn't know why Tang Bufan was a two-handed spirit, and both of them were mutant spirits. Although Tang Xiao had some opinions in his heart, his experience was not as good as the elders, so he did not answer this question, but looked at the second elder. The second elder thought for a while, and expressed his own opinion. It may be that Ziyuking's dagger spirit and clear sky hammer interacted and caused mutations. When it is passed on to him, it has already mutated. These are hard to say, and it is possible that the Wuhan awakened for the second time, and the form after the awakening was that of Tang Bufan's sword Wuhan just now. Su Ziyuking nodded, but I haven't heard that my spirit can be awakened again, and the ancestors seem to be all dagger spirits. Next to him, the seventh elder said impatiently, no matter what's going on, Tang Bufan's twin spirit has become a reality anyway. What should be considered now is his next cultivation and future development direction. This is the third twin in the mainland. Wuhan. At the end, the seventh elder was even more cheerful. What's so great about his spirit hall? Isn't he just having a twin spirit? We also have it in the Clear Sky School, and they are all top attack weapon spirits. Tang Xiao sighed lightly. The seventh elder was right. Since Tang Bufan is a twin spirit, he can't waste his talent. Tang Bufan listened quietly to the conversation between his parents and them. He had long wondered why Tang Feng and the others had only one clear sky hammer spirit, but he had two. It turned out that he was a twin spirit. As for the second elder and sect master, they said that the spirit of the second awakening, he laughed. According to his estimation, he originally had only one clear sky hammer spirit. As for the other spirit, he was very clear. It was not the form of the second awakening of his mother's spirit at all, but was brought about by his previous life. As for why he became his martial soul, he didn't understand at all. But he believes that all this will come to light one day. Tang Zheng and Su Ziyuking were also excited when they heard the words of the seventh elder. Obviously the sect was planning to focus on cultivating Xiao Fan, but then again, their son's talent was the strongest in the history of the Haotian sect, and he was completely worthy of the sect. Fully cultivate. Tang Xiao solemnly glanced at Tang Zheng and his wife and several elders. I plan to focus on training Tang Bufan from today, and even I will personally guide him to practice, but there is one difficulty in this, that is, he cultivates that martial soul first, clear sky hammer or sword martial soul. The 5 elders all spoke out, all expressing their willingness to instruct Tang Bufan's cultivation, quite a bit of robbing his apprentice. The 7th elder was the first to speak. Sect master, as the master of a sect, you should still focus on cultivation. The stronger you are, the clear sky sect can rise to the mountain early. As for the old guys, we have limited talents, so it's better to spend a little bit time to cultivate younger generations. The other 4 elders also expressed their disapproval of the suzerain's distraction to direct Tang Bufan's cultivation, meaning that you should not take Tang Bufan's attention. Tang Xiao couldn't help but smile, dispelling his original idea. Tang Zheng and his wife looked at their son proudly. Tang Bufan listened to their conversation, and suddenly he didn't want to. Relying on his previous life experience, he didn't need other people's guidance at all in his cultivation, and there were many secrets in his body. Although it was not a big deal to be discovered, he was too lazy to explain. Next to Tang Xiao, who withdrew from the fight, caught a glimpse of this scene and smiled and stopped the 5 elders who were fighting. Look, our protagonist doesn't seem to want you to give pointers. In my opinion, let's do it. Anyway, he is still young, and he didn't have much guidance in the early stage. Let him practice first. If he has any questions, he can come to him at any time. We can urge a little bit. Several elders nodded frequently, and Tang Bufan couldn't help but smiled at the suzerain to express his gratitude. Tang Zheng and his wife had no opinion on this, but they still expressed their opinions. Sect Master, 5 elders, Xiao Fan is innately full of spirit power. The next step is to hunt down spirit beasts and obtain spirit rings. But which spirit ring should be added to which spirit ring, and his spirit has mutated, what kind of soul beast should I hunt? Facing Tang Zheng's series of questions, not only Tang Xiao was shocked, but the 5 elders were also a headache. These issues are indeed difficult, and they are also very urgent. Tang Xiao felt a headache. Tang Zheng, you take Tang Bufan back to rest first. The next few days can rest assured, don't take him to hunt soul beasts privately, wait for the results of our discussion. Tang Zheng nodded his head to express his understanding, and took Tang Bufan to greet the sovereign and the elders before stepping away. Looking at the 3 of Tang Zheng who went away, Tang Xiao showed a smile. He had a hunch that Tang Bufan's future achievements would be limitless. The 2nd elder whispered, Sect Master, we should go back and discuss Tang Bufan's training plan carefully. This matter is a top priority and cannot tolerate any negligence. Tang Xiao retracted his gaze, and went straight to the meeting room with the elders. When they returned home, Tang Zheng and his wife went to the kitchen to prepare a big meal. They were ready to comfort their baby son. Tang Bufan couldn't wait to practice as soon as he returned to the study. It was related to his future. Only when the Zhou Tian Hun Yuan Gong can really continue to practice, can he feel at ease. Concentrating calmly, Tang Bufan continued to run the great Zhou Tian Hun Yuan Gong, controlling the soul power in his body and starting to hit the 2nd line of Hun Yuan Gong. However, no matter how Tang Bufan's impact was, the result still remained unchanged, and he still could not step into the 2nd stage of the great Zhou Tian Hun Yuan Gong. After a long time, he stopped practicing, his face showed a thinking look. After thinking about it, he couldn't break through the factor that could only be the spirit ring. It seemed that he had to wait a few more days. Stretched out his left hand, Tang Bufan summoned the clear sky hammer again. The small hammer contains a terrifying weight, and you can clearly see any pattern on it. Half black and half purple, it looks a little different. Suddenly, a very faint purple halo spread out from Tang Bufan's body, and stopped at about 1 meter. Tang Bufan frowned, is it only 1 meter? It seems a bit tasteless. As the two elders speculated before, after Tang Bufan's clear sky hammer spirit mutated, it did form a talent field called the Thunder and Lightning Field. Currently, there is only one skill, that is, paralysis. Everyone in the field will be paralyzed for a second. Shaking his head, Tang Bufan retracted the clear sky hammer and stretched out his right hand. The Golden Xian Yuan Sword Martial Arts Condensed, Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com revealed a heavy and depressed aura. At the same time, a very pale cocky halo spreads outwards. Yes, this is also a domain, and it is the talent domain of Xian Yuan Sword Martial Spirit, called the Earth Domain, and there is only one skill, Gravity Space, which can let you enter the domain. The enemy's speed is reduced by 10%. Twin Martial Soul, Dual Talent Field. This kind of talent does not say that there will be no one in the future. I am afraid that there is no one before. After all, he is the third twin martial soul in Douluo continent. Looking at the golden long sword, Tang Bufan muttered to himself, "Did you save me in the first place? Are you really the legendary ancient artifact Xian Yuan sword?" To Tang Bufan's question, the golden sword did not respond. In the end he shook his head disappointedly. "How could you speak? Are you still answering my questions? I'm too naive. I will give you a new name. Well, let's call it the Haotian sword. I will let your reputation spread all over the world in the future." After finishing speaking, Tang Bufan planned to take back the Haotian sword. At this time, a miracle occurred, and the golden Haotian sword actually began to tremble and hum. It was a pity that there was only a few seconds, and then it returned to silence. Tang Bufan looked excited. "Quickly answer my question." "Vast Sky Sword." However, the Haotian sword seemed to fall into a deep sleep. No matter how he shouted, he remained indifferent. After a long time, Tang Bufan regained his composure. "I believe that one day you will be able to speak and tell me everything after being bombarded by thunder. Even if you can't speak, I will let you speak." As a young man in the 21st century, he was exposed to the internet in his early years. According to the settings in those novels, everything is animist. Even if it is a weapon, only the level is sufficient, he can still speak. Half an hour later, Tang Zheng and his wife had already prepared a sumptuous lunch, including a lot of soul beast meat that Tang Bufan liked. Because these soul beast meats contain a lot of energy, they are very delicious after they are cooked, which makes Tang Bufan greedy. At the dinner table, Tang Zheng and Su Ziyuking kept picking the meat to Tang Bufan, which made Tang Bufan feel very happy. Time flows slowly, and it is 7 days in a blink. Tang Xiao and the 5 elders finally reached a complete consensus after several days of discussion. They decided to let Tang Bufan major in the Clear Sky Hammer martial arts, firstly to better hide the second martial arts soul, and secondly, they knew very well about the Clear Sky Hammer, and it was easy to guide Tang Bufan's cultivation. As for the Haotian sword martial spirit, it was handed over to Tang Bufan to study thoroughly and add a spirit ring to it. It's not that they haven't considered letting Tang Bufan major in the spirit of the Clear Sky Sword, so that in the future his Clear Sky Hammer spirit can all add more than 10,000 years of spirit ring. In this way, Tang Bufan can use the Clear Sky Hammer spirit to the extreme, and his strength will reach an unimaginable level. They didn't need to fear the spirit hall of the Clear Sky School, and could reborn. But in this way, his second spirit was wasted. Although they didn't understand this spirit, it was undoubtedly the top weapon spirit, so they finally decided to let Tang Bufan major in Clear Sky Hammer. This morning, the second elder came to Tang Zheng's house early in the morning and announced the result of their discussion. Tang Zheng respectfully said, "Second elder, have you discussed the results with the master?" "Naturally, we decided to let him major in Clear Sky Hammer, and this time I will personally take Tang Bufan to hunt the soul beast, so you can rest assured to give him to me." The second elder smiled slightly. Tang Zheng smiled with joy, and he was naturally relieved. The second elder has been promoted to Soul Douluo for many years, and now I am afraid that it is close to the 90th rank. With his ordinary strength, the title Douluo may not be his opponent. "Second elder, if you take action, I can rest assured, then I will call Xiao Fan." The second elder nodded, and then waited patiently. 10 minutes later, Tang Zheng took Tang Bufan back home. Seeing Tang Bufan, the second elder smiled kindly. Tang Zheng exhorted, "Xiao Fan, the second elder will take you to hunt and kill the soul beast, and at the same time obtain your first soul ring. You should listen to the words of the second elder on the road." Tang Bufan nodded happily, "Father, you don't need to be wordy, I know." It seemed that he couldn't wait. Seeing this, the second elder smiled unconsciously. He was too familiar with this situation, and those disciples who needed advanced levels were almost so excited. After all, staying in the sect all the year round, the outside world has a lot of attraction to them. Tang Zheng felt quite helpless. He wanted to reprimand him with a sentence or two, but he had to think about it. Then, the second elder brought Tang Bufan to the front yard, and there were still people waiting for them. This time, 2 of the Haotian disciples had reached the 10th level, but they were both older than Tang Bufan. Coincidentally, these 2 people, Tang Bufan, are very familiar, because they had fought with them before. They are 9-year-old Tang Xiang and 8-year-old Tang Ying. Tang Bufan said hello with a smile, "Hi, long time no see, Tang Ying, Tang Xiang." Tang Ying is taller, about 1 meter 2, while Tang Xiang is slightly shorter, only about 1 meter, but he is stronger. The 2 naturally saw Tang Bufan's brother, but neither of them gave Tang Bufan a good look. In the past, Wuhan couldn't beat Tang Bufan when he was not awakened. After he was awakened, he couldn't do it because of his age. Now Tang Bufan is awakened, but he has developed a natural spirit power that stands on the same starting line with them. Don't mention them. How jealous they were, they had only cultivated for 2 or 3 years before reaching the 10th level of spirit power. Tang Bufan smiled indifferently. Next to, Tang Ying and Tang Xiang's parents gave them some precautions and left. The second elder led their children to hunt down the soul beasts, and they were quite relieved. After that, the second elder took Tang Bufan, Tang Ying and Tang Xiang and left the Haotian resident for the soul beast forest. There are many soul beast forests on the Douluo continent, but the real powerful soul beasts are all in the gathering places of the 3 big soul beasts. Misty Forest is what the Haotian school calls the forest behind the sect. Due to the perennial fog, the fog often disappears at noon. The Misty Forest is about tens of kilometers away from the Haotian school, and it takes almost 3 hours with the feet of Tang Bufan's 3 people. At the forefront of the trail, the second elder walked, explaining to the 3 the precautions for hunting and killing spirit beasts and absorbing spirit rings. Tang Bufan left Haotianzong for the first time, and looked at the surrounding scenery curiously along the way. The ancient plants and tall trees shocked him. Can be seen everywhere for hundreds of thousands of years, even the 10,000-year-old tree can occasionally be seen. Tang Xiang, who was walking in the middle, saw Tang Bufan looking around, as if he hadn't heard the second elder's speech at all. He suddenly thought of a way to make Tang Bufan embarrassed. The next moment, Tang Xiang respectfully said, "Second elder grandfather, Tang Bufan did not listen to you." How could the second elder not know the actions of the 3 little guys, but Tang Bufan really didn't let him worry. Thinking of this, he decided to test him. "Tang Bufan, tell me what kind of spirit beasts should be hunted by the Clear Sky Hammer? How many years of spirit beasts should be the most suitable for your first spirit ring?" Tang Bufan couldn't help but glared at Tang Xiang. Reading www.uuganshu. This little kid on com seems to hold a grudge, isn't he just beating him before? Grandpa Hui, the second elder, our clear sky hammer spirit is a strength attribute spirit. Naturally, we should hunt down strength attribute spirit beasts so that we can fully utilize the characteristics of our clear sky hammer spirit. And the best match of the first spirit ring is naturally a 100-year-old soul beast. According to sect records, a 400-year-old soul beast should be the limit that our body can bear. The second elder nodded with satisfaction. Well said, it seems that you have already read the sect's book on soul beasts, remember it is quite accurate. At the end of the talk, the second elder even instructed Tang Ying and Tang Xiang to learn from Tang Bufan and read more about the relevant knowledge about spirit beasts. Tang Ying and Tang Xiang nodded in frustration and agreed to the second elder. Tang Bufan made a naughty face to the two of them, making Tang Ying angry. Was silent for a while, and Tang Bufan said again, "Second elder grandfather, in fact, I think the knowledge recorded in the sect is correct, but it still needs to be different from person to person." The second elder couldn't help looking at Tang Bufan in amazement. It varies from person to person, how can it vary from person to person? Tang Bufan thought about it and said cautiously, "Take me as an example. I think my physical fitness is not worse than those of the great spirit masters, so my first spirit ring wants to absorb about 1,000 years. The second elder couldn't help but get annoyed when he heard it, making a fool, "This is a bullshit, you are so bold. Do you know how powerful a 1,000-year spirit beast is? Have you ever played it?" Tang Bufan was very calm, and it took a while before he became confident. "Second elder grandfather, we might as well take a gamble. If I can kill the 1,000-year spirit beast with my own power, how about you allow me to absorb his spirit ring?" Looking at Tang Bufan, whose face was full of confidence, the second elder's heart was shaken for the first time. However, he never believed that Tang Bufan could kill the 1,000-year spirit beast alone, but it was also true that Tang Bufan was born with supernatural power. If he wanted to absorb the spirit ring of a 500- or 600-year-old spirit beast, he could barely accept it. After all, it was not too outrageous. After thinking about it for a long time, the second elder slowly said, "It's not impossible to ask me to promise you. Let me see your strength first. How about this, if you can help Tang Ying and Tang Xiang get the first spirit ring, I promise to gamble with you." Tang Bufan thought for a while. "Okay, the second elder grandfather, the first spirit ring of the two of them is wrapped around me." A smile appeared on the face of the second elder. From his point of view, Tang Bufan, a 6-year-old child, could be so strong that he would not be scared to pee his pants in the face of the soul beast. As for killing the 1,000-year soul beast, that is whimsical. Tang Bufan also smiled. Although he is only 6 years old, his strength far exceeds his age. Although it may be due to age and lack of internal strength, he is still unable to display the strength of his previous life. But after all, he was born a pinnacle powerhouse after all, with rich experience in fighting throughout his life. He only needs to find out the weakness of the soul beast, and then attack in a targeted manner, so that he has the opportunity to kill the opponent. Of course, it depends on the specific situation before making a decision. If the 1,000-year soul beast is really too powerful, he won't be tough. This is just an episode, and then they set off toward their destination. An hour later, the four of Tang Bufan came to an endless forest, and the forest was covered with a faint white mist. This is the foggy forest. It is strange to say that this foggy forest is obviously a tropical forest, but it looks the same as the soul beast forest in the north, which is really strange. After a short break, the second elder led the three of Tang Bufan into the misty forest. Along the way, the forest is not peaceful, with the calls of insects, birds, and even the roar of beasts. Soul beasts usually come out at noon for activities. You all cheer me up and search carefully. If you miss the best time, it will be difficult to find. The second elder reminded in front. Tang Bufan walked at the back, his expression calm, his eyes calmly looked at the surrounding environment, while searching for the soul beast that suits them. Although Tang Ying and Tang Xiang are walking in the middle, their faces are quite nervous. The second elder who saw these in his eyes lightly sighed in his heart. Tang Ying and Tang Xiang were 2 or 3 years older than Tang Bufan, but their performance was far worse than Tang Bufan. The 4 of them gradually deepened and soon reached the scope of the Centennial Soul Beast. I have also seen many Centennial Soul Beasts, such as some rabbits and fox soul beasts. Unfortunately, these soul beasts are agile soul beasts. Suitable for them. According to Clear Sky School's so many years of experience in hunting and killing soul beasts, the Clear Sky Hammer is more suitable for adding soul rings to such soul beasts as cattle, apes, and tigers. So the second elder led Tang Bufan and the 3 of them to continue searching within the range of the Centennial Soul Beast. 5 minutes later, the walking body of the second elder stopped. Then, he suddenly disappeared in front of the 3. Tang Ying and Tang Xiang who were walking in the front suddenly became at a loss. Tang Bufan frowned and walked in front of them in 2 steps. In the next moment, 2 soul beasts appeared in front of them gracefully. Tang Bufan frowned. This seemed to be a strong bull, a soul beast known for its strength. It seems that the reason why the second elder left is probably because they discovered these 2 spirit beasts. Soon, the 2 powerful bulls found Tang Bufan and 3 of them, showing a fierce aura. Although Tang Ying and Tang Xiang weren't screaming, they were also frightened at a loss. After all, it was the first time facing a spirit beast. Tang Bufan carefully looked at the 2 powerful bulls in front of him, their fur all black, and the 2 horns were extremely sharp. The whole body is about 2 meters long and more than 1 meter high. If he is not wrong, the 2 powerful bulls should be soul beasts about 300 years old. And the second elder must have not gone far, they must be guarding them not far away. Tang Bufan whispered, "You 2 take care of yourself, and you have given me these 2 powerful bulls." After talking about Tang Bufan, he rushed towards Dali Manu, leaving Tang Ying and Tang Xiang stunned. Not far away, the second elder hiding in the grass said anxiously, "Reckless." But he was also ready to rescue him at any time. Actually, Tang Bufan is not reckless. He is petite, and as long as he dodges quickly, it is difficult for the strong bull to attack him, but because of their huge size, they are more likely to be hit by themselves. And at the same time it rushes out, it also activates the Hunyuan internal force in the body, and can attack at any time. 2 powerful bulls saw Tang Bufan dare to attack them, and their instinct drove them to rush towards Tang Bufan. They could already imagine that this tiny human being in front of them would be crushed by them. Just when the 2 powerful bulls were about to hit Tang Bufan suddenly accelerated, and his petite body actually rose into the air on the bull's head. At the same time, a purple and black clear sky hammer appeared in his left hand, and a very faint purple halo spread from the clear sky hammer. The action of the Dali barbarian suddenly slowed down for a while. At that moment, Tang Bufan held the clear sky hammer with both hands and lifted the whole body's internal force and hit the Dali barbarian under him severely. Dali barbarian Nu suddenly made a terrible howl, and lost the target of the attack. The whole body hit the ground, and the other Dali barbarian also tripped to the ground because its companion could not control its speed. In the dark, the second elder who saw this scene rubbed his eyes. With such agile skill and precise calculation ability, it is hard to imagine that this is the handwriting of a 6-year-old boy. In the rear, Tang Ying and Tang Xiang were shocked by the scene before them, but they quickly became excited. The 2 powerful bulls did not seem to be so scary. This is their first spirit ring. Thinking of this, the 2 of them didn't seem to be so scared anymore, they even summoned the clear sky hammer, and then rushed up. Tang Bufan frowned and shouted, "You move separately, don't get too close." At the same time, he also held the clear sky hammer and attacked the blind spot of the 2 powerful bulls. Every hit made Dali barbarians painful, and at the same time attracted their attention, so that Tang Ying and Tang Xiang could hit Dali barbarians. In this way, it took a full half an hour for the 2 powerful bulls to lose their mobility. Tang Bufan was very dissatisfied. If Tang Ying and Tang Xiang hadn't listened to his instructions, they would not have spent so much time, and they would have solved these two powerful bulls. On the other side, Tang Ying and Tang Xiang are quite embarrassed, but their faces are very satisfied. After all, these two powerful bulls have also contributed a part of their strength. Tang Bufan walked to the side unhappily to recover the internal energy he had consumed. Cleaning up these two bulls could consume a lot of internal energy. At this moment, the second elder also walked out of the dark, glanced at Tang Ying and Tang Xiang with admiration, and then fell on Tang Bufan and never looked away. Tang Bufan's spiritual sense was extremely keen, and he immediately felt the eyes of the second elder. Suddenly, there was a relaxed expression on his face. Without being distracted and paying attention to the surrounding movement, he began to move and restore his power. Tang Ying and Tang Xiang saw the second elder come out, each with a proud look on their faces, and they all asked the second elder for credit. The second elder grandfather, you see, we have subdued the strong bull. With a smile on his face, the second elder praised, you did a good job. I can see the whole process of subduing the strong bull. After all, although I was a little flustered at first, I didn't cooperate with Tang Bufan's actions. In view of the fact that you have the courage to attack the spirit beast for the first time when you face the spirit beast, you can already be regarded as good men of our Clear Sky School. Okay, these two strong bulls are very suitable for your first spirit ring. Take a rest, adjust your state to the best, and be ready to absorb the spirit ring. Tang Ying and Tang Xiang sat down happily and began to meditate to restore their soul power. The second elder carefully patrolled the surroundings and guarded the three little guys. 20 minutes later, the three of Tang Bufan ended their meditation. The next moment the three of them came to Dali Barbarian Niu. Tang Ying and Tang Xiang shot one after another, ending the life of Dali Barbarian Niu. The faint yellow light spots began to condense on the top of the Dali Barbarian, and soon a clearly visible yellow halo was formed, which was the 100 Years Spirit Ring. Although Tang Bufan didn't touch it with his hands, he still sensed the huge energy contained in the spirit ring. This should be the pure power that the spirit beast has cultivated for hundreds of years. The second elder smiled and said, you two are not okay, thank you Tang Bufan. If it weren't for him, how can you overcome the powerful bull? Tang Ying reluctantly said, thank you, Tang Bufan. For the sake of helping us get the first spirit ring, your beating me before was completely wiped out. After we absorb the spirit ring and officially become a spirit master, we will help you find a suitable spirit beast. Tang Xiang he looked at Tang Bufan quite proudly. Tang Bufan said lightly, no thanks. Seeing this, the second elder hurriedly said, okay, you two quickly absorb the spirit ring. I don't need to repeat the method. The two responded, and they each walked to the spirit ring and summoned their respective clear sky hammers, and at the same time, the clear sky hammers emitted black spirit power fluctuations. Soon, two powerful bull devil spirit rings that were about 300 years old flew towards Tang Ying and Tang Xiang. The second elder stared closely at the flying spirit ring, and shouted in a deep voice, sit down cross-legged, intending to guard the spirit. Tang Ying and Tang Xiang sat down cross-legged and focused their minds on the clear sky hammer spirit according to the instructions of the second elder. As an outsider, Tang Bufan clearly saw that as the two yellow auras approached, Tang Ying and Tang Xiang's expressions changed slightly, and they seemed to be under certain pressure. At the same time, he heard a soft sound of a certain bone being squeezed. Then, the yellow halo came on top of the two of them, and then suddenly contracted, and then set on their clear sky hammer spirit. The next moment, Tang Bufan clearly saw Tang Ying and Tang Xiang trembling all over, frowning. It seemed a bit painful. No matter how the power of the spirit ring impacts your body, you must stay awake. Only in this way can the power of the spirit ring be used to the maximum in the future. The second elder reminded Tang Ying and Tang Xiang in good time. Then, Tang Bufan discovered that after the spirit ring was put on the clear sky hammer, the clear sky hammer seemed to change accordingly. The black clear sky hammer seemed to become bigger and heavier. Tang Shan watched the whole process of absorbing the spirit ring, and he couldn't help showing his thinking. It seems that when the spirit ring is absorbed, the power contained in the spirit ring will not only change the body of the spirit master, but also strengthen the spirit. Suddenly, Tang Bufan frowned. When Tang Ying and Tang Xiang had absorbed the spirit ring of about 300 years ago, their bodies seemed to tremble a little. It seems that the power of the spirit ring is stronger than he expected, and he doesn't know whether his body can withstand the power contained in the 1000-year spirit ring. But my body in this life is indeed extraordinary. Not only is he born with supernatural power, but also various functions of the body are indeed very strong, even close to the physical quality of the previous life. You must know that Tang Bufan in his previous life was the pinnacle of nature. After more than 20 years of cultivation, his body had already been tempered by Zhen Qi to become extremely powerful. In this life, how long he has been cultivating to be close to the physical fitness of the previous life is really incredible. However, after several years of thinking, he can almost guess one or two. The physical quality of the residents of Douluo continent was stronger than that of the people on Earth, and his rebirth was full of doubts. But he thinks that his physical fitness can be so strong, it must be inseparable from Xuanyuanjian, which is now the Haotian sword. Maybe the Haotian sword used its own power to cut and wash his marrow. Actually, Tang Bufan's guess is almost close to the truth. When the Haotian sword brought Tang Bufan's initial condensed primordial spirit to this continent when he was reborn, almost all his strength was exhausted, and even his body was shattered and left all over the continent. After washing the hair and marrow of the newborn Tang Bufan, he exhausted his strength and fell asleep. Shook his head, Tang Bufan didn't think about these things anymore, he had to find a suitable soul beast first. During the time Tang Bufan was thinking, Tang Ying and Tang Xiang had absorbed the spirit ring and officially became a spirit master. Tang Bufan discovered that Tang Ying and Tang Xiang had undergone some subtle changes in their entire bodies, and they seemed to have grown a bit taller. The main thing is that their eyes are much brighter than before. Tang Bufan couldn't help but secretly vomit. Has you read www.yuyuganshu.com to get the spirit ring so much changed? This is just the first spirit ring. Titled Douluo had to go through 9 such baptisms, and it seemed that the strength of titled Douluo in this world indeed surpassed the innate powerhouse. At this time, the second elder looked at Tang Ying and Tang Xiang with satisfaction. What is the first spirit ability you two got, and how effective is it? Tang Ying was a little excited. The second elder grandfather, my first soul ability is called Qianjun, and it has only one effect, which is to increase my strength by 10%. Tang Xiang said, I am similar to Tang Ying, and the effect is to increase strength. The second elder nodded, yes, our Clear Sky Hammer's first skill almost has this effect. Okay, now that you have also got the spirit ring, we should also set off. It is time to find a suitable spirit beast for Tang Bufan. Tang Xiang said to Tang Bufan with great interest, brother, I will meet a suitable soul beast later, let you see the power of being a brother. Your first soul ring is wrapped in us. Tang Bufan curled his lips, wrap it on you? You have beaten soul beasts for 1,000 years, so I don't have to rely on me to do it myself. Tang Ying is more wiser than Tang Xiang, don't worry, even if we can't beat it, we can do it with the strength of the 3 of us. This time we will follow your instructions. Tang Bufan nodded with satisfaction. If it were them before they got the spirit ring, he would directly reject them. After all, the 1000-year spirit beast is definitely better than the Dolly barbarian. It would be nice if they didn't help. But now that they have acquired the spirit ring, their physical fitness has improved. If they listen to his instructions, they can really help him a lot. As for the second elder, it would be good if his previous attitude didn't stop him. A moment later, even though the second elder still had some reluctance on his face, he still took Tang Bufan and the 3 of them towards the deeper part of the misty forest, because only in the deeper can there be soul beasts close to the Millennium Age. After all, Tang Bufan had already completed the bet with him and helped Tang Ying and Tang Xiang obtain the spirit ring. As an elder, he can't break his promise. Moreover, it has not yet reached the critical moment of breaking their promises. After all, haven't they yet found a suitable Millennium Soul Beast? Besides, even if they find the Millennium Soul Beast, they may not be able to kill the Millennium Soul Beast. Half an hour passed quickly, and suddenly, there was a roar of beasts in front of him, and it seemed that soul beasts were fighting. The second elder who was walking in front suddenly turned around and gave Tang Bufan a meaningful look, and said in his heart, "This kid is very lucky." Because not far in front of them, two soul beasts are erupting in a fierce battle, seemingly fighting for territory. Coincidentally, these two spirit beasts are quite suitable for Tang Bufan's first spirit ring, and satisfy his unrealistic ideas. 1,000-year-old soul beast with purple spirit power, and it is not more than 1,100 years old. The two soul beasts are the unicorn thunder rhino and the four-armed demon ape. It is worth mentioning that these two spirit beasts are not ordinary spirit beasts, and they have the blood of top spirit beasts in their bodies. The thunder horns on the thunder rhinoceros's head are very scary, and they master part of the thunder power. Legend has it that once they evolve to the extreme, the power is unimaginable. The four-armed demon ape is also no small thing, but it is the offspring of the top-level soul beast, the eight-armed demon ape. As long as it grows up, it can eventually evolve into the eight-armed demon ape. Tang Bufan is so smart, he immediately understood the deep meaning in the eyes of the second elder. There must be a soul beast that suits him in front. He trot all the way, pushed aside the weeds in front of him, and suddenly two spirit beasts came into view. One of the soul beasts is very similar to the rhinoceros of the previous life, but with purple scales and a purple horn on its head, about 30 centimeters long. And the other soul beast looked like a chimpanzee, but with 4 strong and powerful arms, and the whole body was black and it was heart palpiting, with a kind of magical power. The two spirit beasts should have been fighting for a while, their breath was panting, and there were many scars on each other. It seemed that the battle was fierce. Tang Bufan has very strong eyesight, and he can clearly see the holes in the front of the four-armed spirit beast's chest and the black blood flowing out. And the purple scale armor on the rhinoceros-like soul beast also fell off a lot, and the hatred in the eyes of both parties was very strong, and it seemed that regardless of birth and death, they would not give up. This is cheaper for Tang Bufan. After all, these two spirit beasts seem to be difficult to deal with, but now he may be able to be a Oriole. Soon Tang Ying and Tang Xiang also came to Tang Bufan, and the three of them looked ahead nervously. Both soul beasts stared at each other fiercely, as if they would attack at any time. The three of Tang Bufan were so nervous that they made the second elder laugh. Time went by bit. About 3 minutes later, the four-armed demon ape took the lead in uncomfortable and launched an attack on the one-horned Lexi. Its feet are extremely elastic, and its forearms are even more robust. When one moves up, it approaches the unicorn thunder rhinoceros, waving its arms against the unicorn thunder rhinoceros. One-horned Lexi looked quite calm, and his sturdy limbs were also quite powerful. He didn't retreat but moved forward. The sharp head horns hit the four-armed demon ape's chest again. And this time, on its purple sharp corners, there was a purple thunder and lightning lingering around, much like a spirit master using a spirit ability. Tang Bufan and the three of them all looked at the second elder with doubts. Could it be possible that the soul beast could also activate the soul ability? The second elder was also a little dumbfounded. Even though he had lived for decades, he had never seen a 1,000-year spirit beast with skills. After a moment of silence, the second elder said in a low voice, "Soul beasts naturally have special skills similar to our soul abilities. They seem to be talent skills. Generally speaking, only those soul beasts over 10,000 years old have skills. Of course, some standing soul beasts, the super soul beast at the top of the pyramid, may also have talent skills." Finally, the second elder couldn't help but smile. "Like you, this is the first time I have seen a 1,000-year soul beast with talented skills." Tang Bufan felt fortunate in his heart. It seemed that he had looked down upon the 1,000-year level spirit beasts before, but he didn't expect them to have talent skills. Originally, he thought that although the Millennium Soul Beast was powerful, as long as he was agile, he still had a chance to kill them. It looks like a big mistake now. The second elder saw Tang Bufan's face thinking, and taught, now you know how naive your previous thoughts are? Even if the three of you combined, you can't beat any of them. Tang Ying and Tang Xiang stuck out their tongues, looking scared, but just saw the swift and powerful movements of these two spirit beasts with their own eyes. Tang Bufan nodded, second elder, I understand. At this moment, purple thunder and lightning broke out on the sharp horns of the one-horned thunder rhinoceros, and immediately hit the four-armed demon ape. The purple electric current continued to invade its body, making its body numb and losing its ability to move. The four-armed demon ape's face suddenly showed a panic expression, and the unicorn Lei Xi would not let go of this opportunity, and hit the opponent's body with the sharp corner of his head, and soon a small hole was hit again. It didn't take long for the four-armed demon ape to regain its mobility. Of course, it is also possible that the lightning effect of the unicorn thunder rhino was over. Yu reading www.yuyukanshu.com. Seemed to feel the passing of life, the four-armed demon ape had a fierce expression in his eyes, and he saw that his arm was strangling the neck of the unicorn Lexi, then he opened his big mouth, and a cloud of purple spirit power was condensing. Tang Bufan was surprised again, does this soul beast also have talent skills? One-horned Lei Xi still ignored the impact, as if he had a foreboding danger and wanted to struggle away, but how could the four-armed demon ape make it wishful? The next moment, it sprayed out the purple energy group in its mouth, and the purple light cut directly to his neck. Immediately, Lei Xi made a painful grunt. So, it hit the magic ape harder. A minute later, the demon ape fell to the ground and lost its life, and the unicorn thunder rhinoceros also defeated it miserably, because its neck was bleeding continuously. At this moment, the second elder took Tang Bufan out of the grass, the target staring at the unicorn Lexi closely. The next moment, a huge clear sky hammer hit the unicorn Lei Xi's body, causing it to completely lose its combat effectiveness. Tang Bufan didn't hesitate anymore, he made up the final blow to Lei Xi and ended his life. Before he died, the unicorn Lei Xi gave Tang Bufan a reconciled look. It never thought that he had died in the hands of a weak human. If it weren't for a desperate battle with the four-armed demon ape, the result might be different. However, even if it was not injured, it ended up the same way. Soon, two purple spirit rings condensed above the bodies of the two spirit beasts. The second elder looked at Tang Bufan seriously again, you really intend to absorb a 1000-year level spirit ring? If you overestimate your physical fitness, you will definitely be bursting with the energy of the 1000-year spirit ring. Your parents confessed.